Yes.
There's a lot of coaches that were birthed during the pandemic. There was a lot of credit repair specialists birthed, and there was just a lot of people that came about in this industry and started giving tips and wanting to do consultations, and a lot of people ate that up, lost a lot of money, and was given the wrong advice because these people were fairly new in their industries. And that's the reason why I don't post credit repair people. I got one time by posting someone that I thought was legit, and then they were scamming people.
Welcome to Keys to the Culture podcast. It's your hostess with the mostest, Maisha, and this is a place where we celebrate Black creatives and innovators who shape the culture around us and bring relevance to the creator economy one post at a time. So in other words, we're rooting for everybody Black. So what is the creator economy? The creator economy is the economy. It is where people of all kinds use their talents and skills to build businesses, brands, and go viral and making that cash. So ask yourself, why am I not making any money? But here we like to celebrate amazing people who are doing amazing things, and we call them culture change makers. And today's culture change maker is the National Urban League, which was founded in 1910 to bring resources, activism, and to help the Black community thrive in so many different ways. So today we have someone who is not only someone who's making an impact in the city of Los Angeles, but she is a change maker. So I'm going to read my card on her because she got a long list of things that she does. So Rocsii Frank of the Source LA, she's a CEO, and she's the epitome of a self-made entrepreneur, influencer, community leader, mother, and a woman who is doing amazing things. She's a serial entrepreneur. She's dedicated to uplifting and repositioning the people of her community through healthcare, jobs, resources, and opportunities. Welcome to the show, Rocsii.
Thank you for having me.
Yes. I'm so excited that you're here.
Thank you.
And I'm going to ask you a question before we begin.
Sure.
When did you know that black creativity was the culture?
Man, in corporate spaces.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Let's talk about it.
Well, so working in corporate America, I learned the influence that I brought to the company.
Yes.
And so I feel like once I came in and I brought my little twist and gave my little add in, I saw a big change in the company. So.
Yes. And I worked in corporate America too. So I was in corporate America for like 16 years.
Sure.
And then I got freed. And I went on my entrepreneur journey.
Yeah.
So there's been a huge shift from corporate life to entrepreneurship. But let's start at the beginning. Let's talk about your origin story. So how did you get started?
Man, so I am a formerly single homeless mother.
Come on.
And I was going through a really, really, really rough patch. Was
Yeah.
unable to, after being put out, I was unable to get employment. I was unable to get find a place to live. I was struggling with childcare. I did not understand the childcare crisis until I was going through it myself. And I really wasn't understanding why nobody would hire me.
Yeah.
And so once I was able to get my foot into the door and start working, I realized I needed a better job to sustain everything. And then from there, I just wanted to help people.
Yeah.
So as a recruiter for a Fortune 500 company, I realized why a lot of people weren't, coming back, or I was being ghosted and whatnot. And so after kind of like talking to these people, it's like I didn't have a babysitter, or I didn't have a car, or this is what I'm going through.
Yeah.
So I noticed a lot of people were really open with telling me why they couldn't make it to the interview, or why I never heard back from them. And I'm like, well, just come on in. Let's talk about it. Maybe I can find you some resources and help you. And so my numbers changed, obviously, at work. And, my bosses were like, well, what are you doing? Tell me a little bit about what you're doing. And I was like, well, I'm providing these resources since I utilize these resources.
Yeah.
And, after being there for so long, my boss was like, why don't you do your own thing?
Hello.
And I was like, you're right. So it was very encouraging. So that's kind of how it started.
That's crazy. It's just like you're in the business of helping other people thrive. So was you always had this kind of inkling to be an entrepreneur, or is that something that just naturally progressed?
I'm going to be honest with you. I've always had jobs, multiple jobs. So there was many times that I'm having like 3 or 4 jobs at a time.
Wow.
And so I didn't really understand what an entrepreneur was. I was like, that's scary. I can't do that. I have a mouth to feed.
Right.
And I can't just really base my life on I may or may not get paid.
Yeah.
I need that security blanket. And so working in that corporate space, I was given the opportunity to do sales while still keeping my job.
Wow.
And so I kind of transitioned really slowly. And then I was like, man, why didn't I do this like sooner?
Yeah.
And so once I got a taste of it, I was really addicted. And working for an insurance company, I really learned how to structure my business, what that looks like, how to manage clients. And so that really kind of gave me like a roadmap.
Yeah. Did you feel like it was successful when you first started?
Absolutely not.
Yeah. Okay.
No.
Let's talk about that, because a lot of entrepreneurs, it can be scary. It's like a roller coaster. It's up and down. And sometimes when you first started out, you're like, oh, I'm going to make this amount of money. And then you just like, yeah, I got zero amount in my bank account. That happened to me. So like for you, what was kind of like the pitfalls that happened before you reached that success?
Sure. So what I will say this is, I had a really great leader that encouraged and motivated me. So I feel like a lot of entrepreneurs don't have that sometimes. Yes. Sometimes your family isn't supportive, or your partner isn't supportive, or maybe your friends aren't supportive. And so you don't really have the drive that, I had. So I had a cheerleader, we would have these Monday morning meetings, and we would hoorah, and you know what I'm saying? And it would motivate me. I would also listen to Nip, like on
okay, come on now. Let's talk about Nipsey.
Yeah, I would listen to him on the way to my meetings. But see, one thing that I can say is when it's good, it's great, and when it's bad, it's horrible.
Yeah.
Right? And so I remember closing all these deals and making all this money, and then I remember people not paying their bills, so I had to pay all that money back. And it was very, very discouraging for me.
Yeah.
And so, and that could probably apply to many people, right?
Yeah,
like when your sales are low and you're not able to like pay the rent, when that's your sole, source of income, it can be very discouraging.
Yeah, I've been there. I've been there. Them bills start piling up, and you don't have nobody to call.
No.
You're like, wait, let me try to call somebody. Yeah.
And then you start taking out loans, and then you got to pay those back and things like that. And so you just kind of fall in a deeper hole. And then I feel like at that point, you are now in a state of depression. You know? And so one of the things that I always tell people, I will never tell anybody to quit their job. I will say, listen, do part-time, do something, have something on the side until everything is up and running. And then there are some people that I'm like, you got to quit that job and just do it full throttle. So it really kind of just depends on where you are mentally, emotionally, are you ready?
Yeah. What about like mental health with entrepreneurship? And you kind of touched on that too.
Sure.
And we see entrepreneurs, and we have this hustle mentality, like we gotta hustle, we gotta go out and get it. And then you look up and you're like, wow, I didn't take a vacation for like a year. I haven't had any like self-care days, and it starts to weigh on you, and that's when that depression comes in. So for you, how do you kind of balance that? Because you got a lot of stuff that's going on, positive, some great things, but what are some things that you do just to keep yourself like mentally checked?
So let me just start off and say this. I did not take a vacation until 2021. I have been working since I was like 16 or 17 years old, and I have not had a vacation until like 2021.
Oh my God.
Yeah. So this is like a recent thing, like that I really just been like taking time off and really just, taking the kids somewhere or, going on a little vacation. Yeah. But before then I felt like I couldn't. I needed to keep working. I needed to keep going, which I don't recommend, of course.
Yeah, that's true. Because, I mean, for myself, I just recently just scheduled a vacation.
Yeah.
Because I've been working nonstop for the past 3 years during the pandemic. I was just keep going because I lost my corporate job during that time, and I had to go into full-time entrepreneurship. But luckily, I was already doing something on the side. Sure. But like you said, like balance, and your day job can be your stepping stone.
Sure.
So it can set you up for whatever you need for your business. I use money to fund my business.
Sure.
So I think that's a great thing too, just kind of keeping yourself balanced and in check. But the Source LA, like, it came from your heart to help other people. You have a passion for doing that. Right. And you provide so many resources for people in the city of LA. So with the Source LA, how has your life changed by building this brand?
Oh my gosh, it's changed drastically. I feel like every time I blink, I'm doing something. You know, I'm like super busy. To just kind of piggyback on what you said, like having a calendar, sticking to my calendar, scheduling those days off. There's days where I'm like, I tell my husband, I'm gonna be in the bed. I'm not doing nothing today. He'd be like, yes, do that. You know, same thing with my son. He'll be like, oh, just go for a walk or something like that. So it's a lot. And it's a lot going on, but you know, for all the entrepreneurs out there, schedule everything. You need your calendar.
Period. Like for the Source LA, like I see you going so many places with the Source LA. I feel like it's going to branch out even more. But you do have so many different entities within the Source LA. Let's talk about those. Let's go down the line. Let's talk about all that the Source LA does and all the different branches of the Source LA.
So the Source LA itself is like, you know, the main hub, right? It's everything. I post everything in one place. But sometimes, as you can see, I post all day, every day. So it never stops, right? People send me stuff, email me stuff, text me stuff. So it's like a constant thing. So that's like the main page. Then we have the Source LA listings. So with me being formerly homeless, I'm really passionate about like letting people know this is, you know, the affordable areas. These are the, you know, rooms for rent. Are you ready to buy a home? Just so that page specifically is dedicated to housing. Then from the housing, we also have the reentry page, and that's for if you were formerly incarcerated, formerly homeless, whatever you're reentering back into society. Then we have the Source LA Youth, where I try to post everything youth, whether it's like a camp, event, jobs, anything, you know, activations. And then what I'm still trying to work on is the tech portion. So, you know, everyone's getting into tech right now. They want to do tech jobs. I worked for a tech company, a tech cannabis company not too long ago, learned a lot, you know, and it's a very profitable industry. And so I thought, let's add that in. And then we have the foundation, because the Source LA is not a bank. I don't know why people think that I'm a bank. I don't have any money. So the foundation was created so that way we can, you know, get donors and sponsors and have help for people that need help with their rent and stuff like that.
Wow. So with all of that going on, do you have a team?
I do actually have a team. It's family owned.
Okay,
so
perfect.
My son, my sister, and my husband as of right now.
Wow, so, that's beautiful. A lot of people don't have that, y'all. To have your family involved as you grow, that's a beautiful thing. It's really important to have a solid team when you're in business. So let's talk about how important that is, because a lot of people, they just go out, I'm going to start a business, and they just go for it, and they move too fast. Maybe they grow fast, and they don't have the capacity to serve their customers. So how important it is to have like a really solid team?
It's very important, because I ran it by myself since 2016 up until a few years ago. So I was a one person, you know, team, and it was very overwhelming. I believe that when my sister actually transitioned in to help me, I was having I needed a mental health break. I was just like snappy and like upset, because I felt like people didn't understand I was human and they needed all these things. And so I was just like, I called my sister and I was like, I need help. This is becoming very overwhelming. I'm a caseworker. I'm a social worker. I'm a therapist.
Oh my God.
It's so many different people that come to me for different things, that if I'm constantly pouring every single day, all day to other people, I'm going to be empty by the end of the day. I won't have anything left for my husband, my son, anybody. So they see that, and they kind of jumped in and was like, okay, well, what do you need? I'm going to help you out. You know, my husband works in reentry services. And so he's like, I got you in this area. And then my sister, she's like the back end. She does all like graphics, websites, anything, one sheets, anything. Like, she's like the digital
I need to
queen.
tap in.
You do. She's amazing. And then my son, you know, I'm trying to get him to be a leader. You know what I'm saying? So I'm like, you're popular. A lot of kids know who you are. Set the example. So he goes with me to events and stuff like that.
Okay, influencer.
First, he was just kind of like, Mom, I don't want to go. Then he was like, Mom, when's the next event? And, you know,
wow.
So, yeah.
Yeah, he's a little influencer.
Girl.
I feel like you're an influencer as well. You're a different type of influencer. It's not like I'm a beauty influencer or fashion influencer, even though you do dress up, honey.
I will take it.
She puts it on.
Do it.
Yes, and I love it, because every time I see you, you look good.
Thank you,
period.
Thank you.
So I believe that you are an influencer from a community leader standpoint. and you do so much in the community.
Yeah.
What are some things that the Source LA and as you as a brand have done within the community, different partnerships that you have created as well?
Sure. So I work with over like 200 nonprofit organizations directly.
200.
Yeah. So some of the stuff I don't post, right?
Yeah.
Like I'm not a really big fan of like posting on Skid Row and things like that, or like if I've gifted something to somebody, I don't really want to announce it. So a lot of that stuff I don't share because I don't, I remember a long time ago I helped someone connect with someone that got them groceries or something like that, and they posted it, and then they messaged me like, can you please take it down, you have a lot of followers, and I was just like, oh my gosh, I felt horrible. And so I was like, there's just some things that I just will not post. But turkey giveaways, Christmas tree giveaways, school backpack giveaways. We partnered with It's Bigger Than Us, and they did this huge activation at the Crenshaw Mall.
Oh, yes.
So that was like really big. And then they did a Christmas thing as well where they gave out, I don't know if it was 10,000 toys, don't quote me, but it was a lot of toys that they gave out, and there was activations.
Beautiful.
There's just so many different things that, sometimes they either want to partner, they're like, hey, can you come out, or hey, can you please share this, or hey, do you have someone that can partner with me on this, or if they have a specific need, then we just try to,
That's beautiful. Yeah, because the city of LA, there's a lot of nonprofits out here, and a lot of people need resources. So just you kind of being that plug is what everybody search for. Because I'm always on the Source LA, and I'll send stuff to friends all the time, or even things that I've had. You reposted it, and you was like, yeah, let me just repost it.
People need to see it, or hear it, or know about it, or show up to it, or be involved with it,
So how important it is for you to support other people as well, like even small businesses.
Sure.
You are very, very supportive. So how important is that to you?
Man, so when the pandemic hit is when actually the Source LA act blew up, so to speak. And so when it first hit, a lot of businesses were struggling. Nobody had, wanted to spend money. People couldn't go outside. A lot of people were sick. And so I felt like that was an opportunity for me to be like, hey, you can go here for this or here for that, or just highlight businesses. And it really became a thing, And so I realized that all the support that I gave out, I'm getting it in return, and I get it daily. I get it all the time, and I feel like that's really big.
That's beautiful.
So,
yeah, because you've been, I think you just got an award from the Gathering Spot.
Yeah.
So how did that feel to receive an honor from the Gathering Spot? So what exactly was the honor, and how did it make you feel to be recognized?
Man, when I got the email, I was just like freaking out, kind of. I feel like, I was like, oh my God, like this is so amazing. Like I became a member not too long ago, and so what's naturally in me is like when I joined, I was telling all my friends, you guys got to join, you guys got to come check out the space. The space is amazing. I think like 30 people signed up.
Yeah.
And a lot of people that were coming were like, hey, yo, Rocsii sent me, or the Source LA sent me. And so I got the email, and I was just like, oh my gosh, I didn't know what to expect. I was like, okay, well, maybe it's because they see like what I'm doing. It was the CARES Award.
Yeah.
And I was very nervous. I had to speak, and it was awesome.
I know, I seen it, and yes, I'm a member of the Gathering Spot. Yes. So shameless plug. So I was like, oh my God, like they honored Rocsii, and that was such a beautiful moment to see because it was well deserved.
Thank you.
You do so much. Like I think people, y'all underestimating how much she does in the community and what you do. And it's not from a selfish standpoint. It's just really a beautiful thing to help other people. And you recently is partnering with the Black Professionals Network.
Correct.
So let's talk about that a little bit. So what's going on with that?
Man, that kind of just fell in my lap, to be completely honest with you. So I have a business partner. Her name is Nakia Carter. She is a real estate broker. And so she pitched me the organization and told me all about it. It's, started in Miami. Under the CEO, Kanasha Paul, and then they were opening up a Chicago chapter, and they wanted to open an LA chapter. And when she first came to me about it, I was just like, girl, I'm doing so many things right now. I just don't know, like, if I could be a part of something else, something new. But once I started doing my research and I got on a call with the CEO and with Nakia, I learned a little bit more about what the Black Professionals Network truly is. And I was just like, wow, this really aligns with what I'm already doing. You know, to be able to provide a safe space for Black professionals and the resources and the events and all of that, you know, stuff. I was just like, oh, this will work. This will work out. And so we launched that. Nakia is the president currently. I'm the vice president. And we have monthly mixers every Thursday. We have a newsletter. We do email blasts. We have a job board that, you know, when you become a member, you can be a part of that and have access to that. And so I was just like, this is great. This is awesome. It's a woman-owned organization. And right now, all of the leaders are Black women. So
Come on. Like, yes, you know, honey. I love it. Yeah. You know, that's what I live for. I live for Black women in power positions are doing amazing things. And with the Black Professionals Network, you have the mixers. Have you noticed any relationships being fostered in those mixers? Because a lot of people in LA, when we think of mixers or, you know, networking events, you know, people standing in one corner and they stand on the other side and no one's really talking. And there's an importance of community in those situations.
So I make people talk. So when we first started off, it was, you know, kind of small. You know, we were trying to get the name out there. It was small enough for everyone to introduce themselves and let, you know, everyone in the room know who they are and what they did. And so I said, we're going to do this piece so that you can figure out who it is that you want to talk to once we're done. We also have icebreakers that we do that force you to walk up to someone because we do like a bingo. So I haven't seen people standing around. I see a lot of people engaging. I'm also happy to say every time we have a mixer, it's always new people. Maybe 2 or 3 same people will show up, but for the most part, it's always a new, you know, we try to use a new venue, and then we mostly see new faces. So it's really awesome.
Listen, that's so dope. Like, we really need those networking events in the city of LA, because I feel like it's just everyone just come to LA. It's like party, Hollywood, but there's a huge network of people in business that definitely need to connect, and that's why I love you to have you guys on the show. But you're also the VP of the Nonprofit Plug. Let's talk about the Nonprofit Plug.
Well, before we transition to that, I forgot to mention that the Black Professionals Network does do a huge conference in Miami every year. And me and my husband went last year with the president, Nakia Carter. And it was amazing. They had it at the Hard Rock Cafe. Pinky Cole was a guest speaker.
Oh my God, I love Pinky.
It was the bomb.
I love Pinky. Love to have you on the show. So with the Nonprofit Plug, so how did that relationship foster, and what exactly do you do?
So I actually met the CEO, Sharon Elephant, at a Women in Business mixer. So I was invited to a mixer that said, do not bring a +1, come by yourself because you need to meet new people. And I was terrified. I was like,
my God,
what am I getting myself into? Like, it's going to be weird. What if nobody talks to me, you know? But it was awesome because, again, there was icebreakers that forced us all to talk and mingle. I ended up meeting her, and I thought she was really dope. Started following her on social media because of the work. She's a great speaker, by the way. I was captivated. I was like, oh, this girl.
Right.
You know? And so we connected, and I learned about her organization and what she does. And she is basically a one-stop shop for all your nonprofit needs. Whether you want to get started, whether you need compliance, do you need funding, all of that good stuff. And so with me being the source in LA, right, and all these people wanting to partner with me and coming to me and sharing their ideas, their dreams, their goals, all of that stuff, they're not registered businesses.
Come on.
Their paperwork isn't in order. So I was like, oh, it would be really cool for us to come together and do workshops and things like that to let the community know this is what you need to do so that you can get funding, right? Because all these GoFundMes and raising money and stuff, like, you can get grants. You know that, right? Like, so that's how that relationship came together, and it's just been going since.
I love that, because a lot of people, like you said, they don't have their business entities registered. And when you're going into business, there's so many different steps that you need to take on the back end before you even start promoting online. So even with my clients, it's the same thing. I'm like, well, did you file your business entity? Let's talk about that first. So with these workshops, how beneficial are these workshops to small businesses in particular?
Sure.
Because there's so many businesses that have been around for years, and some of them still don't have their P&L statements. They don't.
Let me tell you.
They don't understand the importance of invoices. So let's talk about that.
So we do like entry level workshops, and then we do like, you know, the middle workshops where it's like, maybe you think you know everything, but let me see what you missed. And then it's like, okay, let me show you how to leverage your nonprofit to get a property. So it's just, it kind of like, you know, it's so many different levels. But we had an event at the Gathering Spot, actually. We hosted Nonprofit 101, the basics.
Whoa.
I was really shocked, but there was people there writing things down. They came with their notepads, and they were ready. The room was full. It was the upper level. And I felt like we got a really good feedback from it, and people were taking notes, and people were also connecting, and there were several connections and consultations booked after that. So,
hey, it's your girl Maisha from Keys to the Culture podcast. Are you a creative building a brand and want to take your business to the next level? Then listen up, because I got some exciting news for you. One of the fastest ways to reach your target audience is to promote on Keys to the Culture podcast. Why? Because we have some of the biggest names in the game, from musicians to CEOs to creatives and bosses of all kinds. So this is your chance to tap into our audience to grow your business to the next level. We work with small businesses as well as newbies in the game. So don't worry if you're just starting out, we got you covered. Are you ready to promote on Keys to Culture podcast? Well, click the link in the bio to promote today. Whoa.
yeah.
Okay, so I need to learn more about that when that comes around. Because I know a lot of people who's trying to, you know, start nonprofits or trying to start a business.
Sure.
I usually help for-profit, but the nonprofit sector, that is not me.
Yeah.
That's not my jam. I can give you some advice or send you to someone else, but there's a huge like network of people who definitely need assistance in that.
Absolutely.
And the small businesses in particular in LA,
Yes.
like just kind of helping them with, there's so many different programs that they don't even know about.
Exactly.
So besides yours, what other organizations can help them starting and also raising funds?
I'm not sure. I don't know of any, to be completely honest with you.
Okay.
As in the nonprofit space, or just in general?
Nonprofit, for-profit?
You know, honestly, I do get a lot of consultants hitting me up because they want to advertise and do marketing on the page.
Yeah.
But there's like an intake process, right? I got to know who you are, what you do, how long have you been in business and stuff like that, and kind of get some like background about you. But there's consultants out there, but I haven't run into another business.
Yeah, there's a different organizations in LA like PACE.
Okay.
PACE is a great organization, and they help people get ready for businesses too. They have programs, but in particular funding. So people who want to raise funds for their businesses, that is one great source. I know a lot of them. You're not going to get advertising on here, but there is an
organization I just signed up with. I think I seen them through you.
Probably.
Forgive me because I don't remember the name, but they help with government contracting.
Okay.
They help with like becoming a woman-owned business, a black-owned business. So I believe I know them through you.
Probably.
You posted them before, and I actually just
registered.
Oh,
I know who you're talking about.
You know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
I just registered for the contracting piece. Because,
I'm going to give y'all a plug. Vermont Slauson Economic Development Corporation.
There we go.
VSEDC.
Yes.
So I've actually worked with VSEDC. I've worked with the Best Buy Teen Tech Center as well. So there's a lot of resources for small businesses, women-owned businesses. Right. And they're giving out grants. They partner with so many amazing people. And even fostering a relationship, that'd be a great relationship for you to get involved with them, because they're doing a lot of stuff in the community too. Yeah. And nobody knows all about it.
I know. So I like to try it out for myself and go through the process so that I can see everything is everything before I go ham.
Come on now.
And I met this guy on the Zoom, and he was awesome. So far, so good.
Okay. That's what I'm talking about. So you in business and being a mother, and how has that really helped your relationship grow with your son too? You like showing him what entrepreneurship looks like.
Sure. So some days it's like I'm excited, and then some days I'm punching air because he's a teenager. Yeah. Right. So it's like I don't want to do that, or I know that what I want to do, and it's this, and I don't want to go to college. I don't want debt, and it's like, what are you getting this from?
Oh my God.
For the most part, I feel like it's inspiring for him, because he's just like, wow, like you really created this thing, and like people know you because of it, and you're making money from it, and you don't have to have a job. That's cool.
Mm-hmm.
So he's kind of seeing firsthand that you can build an empire and you can work for yourself. I wasn't taught that. I was taught to go to school, get a job, and that was it. So I'm kind of showing him another aspect, and I love it, but at the same time, this boy thinks he's gonna be a millionaire, and I'm like, you got.
He gonna be a millionaire, y'all.
No, like right now, he's like, oh yeah, I don't need to go to school. I'm just gonna be a millionaire.
Oh my God,
you gotta do the work.
Gotta do the work, man.
Yeah.
And social media, because this is a creators podcast, and you have grown so much on social media, just as a personal brand and also on your branded pages.
Sure.
So, what are some key tips and tools that you can give people on how they can grow as well as a brand?
Man, keeping up with what's going on in the world, because what's going on in the world, no matter what it is going to impact your business in some way, shape, or fashion, right? Always verifying your information before you put it out. Putting out the wrong information could really mess you up, and it can tarnish who you are, right? And then like kind of like what I said, as far as I like to go through a process or do business with someone myself to see their process before I could be like, this is what you guys should do.
Yeah.
Also be consistent. If you're consistent with whatever it is that you're doing on social media, I feel like eventually people are going to see you. You know what I'm saying? And so I remember when I had 5,000 followers, nobody wanted to partner with me, okay? People were leaving me on read.
Period.
Yeah. Now I have 80,000 followers, and those very people are in my DMs.
Coming back.
Like, hey, let's partner, It's like, oh, you got those 7,000 followers now, But,
Yeah. So like what consistency, because consistency can mean different things for people.
Sure.
That can be posting every day, or that can be just finding your niche and posting that type of content. So what does that mean to you, consistency?
Well, I feel like you have to find what type of content, and for an example, with me, I was in the beginning posting a lot of flyers.
Yeah.
Right? And that was working for a while. Then people wasn't reading. So then I
Yeah,
had to make videos. You know what I'm saying? And so that goes back to staying in tune with what's happening so that you know which way to go. What I mean by being consistent is learning your craft, studying whatever it is that you're doing, constantly elevating, right? Because the world is changing rapidly so much. Everyone's doing TikToks now. Are you implementing TikToks in your content? Like, what are you doing different? You see what this person is doing to go viral. Not saying do exactly that, but look into the things that you can do to be on the same page.
Yeah, and I love that. And it's something you always say is collaboration over competition.
Yeah.
So let's talk about that. What does that mean? What does that mean to you?
You can't beat them, join them. I feel like you can't do everything. You're not going to be good at everything. There's a lot of things that I feel like I can still grow in, and that's why I partner with, for an example, Sharon. Like I just said, she's an amazing speaker. She can work the room, the stage, everything. Beautiful. And I'm like, teach me. And so she's like, okay, we're going to start doing things together so that way you could feel more comfortable. That's what I mean. Collab with the person. Two heads is always better than one. And I feel like, if you want to go far, you need to build a team. If you want to, go fast and you do it by yourself, okay.
Oh,
but
absolutely.
I mean, why not have the support,
Absolutely. And I really agree with that, because a lot of times some people get intimidated by other people's gifts.
Most of the time.
Right? Hello.
Yeah.
So when that happens, you be afraid to ask somebody for help. But it's really important to have a mentor or someone that can coach you through something.
Sure.
So what advice would you give somebody who's kind of like a little shy, maybe, or they are intimidated by someone who's doing great things, but they know that they have the information?
Man, take that chance. If they say no, then it's no. Find somebody else. I would just keep going.
Come on.
Yeah.
Yeah. And another thing that you say is your network is your net worth.
Absolutely.
So you have built a team, you have built so many great partnerships, and that fostered more income for you.
Sure.
So what advice would you give someone who wants to create those relationships and how that can benefit them financially?
Well, one thing that I learned was I knew where I wanted to go and what I wanted to do. And the mentors that I had in the corporate space, they're still there, which is great, but I had moved into more of a community space, right?
Yeah.
So I started connecting with other community leaders and things that were doing, like community activations and just things that I wanted to do but didn't know how to do, right? Putting events together. I don't know how to put an event together. I could post it, I could tell everybody to show up, I could be there, I could host it. So, but I don't know how to do that effectively, and be successful. So I would partner with those people. You know what I'm saying? And I feel like if you add value to a situation, maybe you don't know how to do that thing, but you add value in another way. Use that as leverage when you're coming to someone. It's like, hey, I want to learn how to do events, and I want to do an event with you. I have the following. You know how to do it. Can we collaborate on it? Why would someone say no? And then that's when you break down, like, okay, let's talk about how we can get, put the money part together.
Okay,
but
let's talk
about
the money.
But I feel like if you leverage yourself and what you have to offer, why would a person turn that down?
What ways do you see the Black community and business growing in LA?
So I feel like a lot of leaders are emerging right now. I feel like a lot of leaders are really standing up in different spaces, and they're saying, hey, like, this is what I'm doing. I want you to be a part of it. I am going to continue to highlight those voices and continue to let people know who these people are and continue to support those people. I feel like if we could all do that, man, we could get more money in the city. We could get more programs in the city. We can accomplish more. We can create more safe spaces. I mean, so much more can be done if we actually really came together instead of trying to recreate the Source LA or recreate someone else's podcast. Like, collab,
Exactly. I'm really big on collaboration too. Like, I'll reach out in a minute. I don't care how many years I've been in business.
Sure.
I will always reach out to somebody else and get some advice for something. And that's had always helped me and to grow in different areas and having such a strong sister circle. And some of my close friends.
Oh, I know. They're amazing ladies.
So, our network is so great just to have women. So let's talk about camaraderie amongst women in business. And how has that helped you kind of sustain and grow as well?
So before this current group that I'm currently in, I was in another group. And this was the group, like, I want my problems, this, that. It was like they had a problem for every solution. It was like the opposite, right? And it was just like kind of draining. And now that I've transitioned into another group, it's like we have a solution for every problem. We have a resource for everything that's needed. And we're always uplifting one another, you know, and showing up and supporting. And so being in that space now is a lot different. I feel like I can accomplish more. And I feel like when you're in a group with other women that are saying your name in rooms that you're not in or referring you, like, someone goes on a podcast, for an example, and you're like, hey, you should meet Sharon. Sharon is amazing. And then next thing you know, Sharon, and then it just keeps going. I feel like that's really important.
Yeah, because a lot of times, we hear these stories about women can't work together and there's always jealousy or there's issues and problems. I've experienced it. I'm not going to lie.
Girl, I know some mean girls. I
know, but, just changing your circle and how that can change your life. Just the core people that are in your life and just having that support system and working together with other women. There's always this negative connotation that happens when, you're working with women. They're going to make sure that you don't get this opportunity. So do you have stories like that where you had, let's share a story.
I will say this, just like you date your girlfriend or your boyfriend, date your friends. Date your business partners.
Ooh, I like
and then
that.
What I'm learning in my current season is create boundaries. So if you have an amazing partnership going on with someone, you guys are getting money together, keep it that. That's just my advice.
Okay.
Keep
Period.
it that. If you have a best friend and you love that best friend and you tell that best friend everything, don't do business with them.
I like that.
That's how you create the boundaries to where there isn't no issues. And that's what I'm learning because I love my friends and I love people. I be at events hugging people that I don't know.
Yeah, you do. I've seen it.
So you have to create boundaries and you have to stick to your boundaries so that you, one, protect yourself and then you protect your business. But I've had women get close to me and befriend me, and we do business, and then it becomes a whole mess pot, and it's just like
you're right,
you're
girl.
invested in the business aspect, but now you don't trust this person because they didn't told your business, or they're being messy, and then it kind of ruins everything. Then it taints you, it changes you, and then you don't want to help people anymore, right? Or other women. There is a stigma about Black women and how we can't work together. But the reality of it is, one, check yourself to see why you're attracting those type of people.
Ooh.
And then two, I would say, date them. Like I said, date them and really get to know them to their core. If you want to be their friend, like I said, don't do business. If you want to do business, don't be their friend like that.
I love that too. Date your friends.
Yeah.
I'm going to use that now.
Yeah.
Yeah, because, it's some people that's your homegirl you tell everything to.
Mm-hmm.
You like, I will never go in business with you because if something happens, it's going to go left.
Exactly.
Yeah, I'm good on that. So I want to ask you, what are some keys to be successful that you can give someone?
Oh, man. I would say consistency. Be consistent. When you get your first no, keep going. When you lose your first deal, keep going. You have to be consistent. That is a part of the game. Failing is a part of the game. You will not win until you fail. Another one, I would say relationship building. Get out there and build relationships. It doesn't matter what industry you're in, unless you are a trader, I believe, because they just sit behind a computer, right? They sit behind a computer and they don't got to deal with people.
Right.
But for the most part, in these industries, you want to be able to learn how to cultivate relationships and leverage those relationships, and take risk.
Yeah.
Take the risk.
Those risks, man.
Yeah, take that risk.
I just go out there and do it. I'm not gonna lie. I had a conversation with my makeup artist. Shout out to Delana. And I talked to her today. I was like, hey, when I just go for something, I just do it.
Yeah.
Like, I just don't think twice because, sometimes there's fear of failing.
Sure.
And these obstacles that we have that we put in front of ourselves to not go for something. And some of those obstacles can be crippling.
Sure.
It's like chains on us, and it doesn't, it stops us from accomplishing the goals that we set for ourselves or we hope for ourselves. Right. I don't want to live with regrets or anything. I don't want to live a life where I'm older and I'm like, I wish I could have did that.
Right.
No, I'm just doing it. Like, if it's a passion of mine and I feel good about it, I'm going to just go for it.
Sure.
So have you had those times where you had, like, doubt or the fear and it was crippling and you didn't go for something? Or have you always been this go-getter you are?
I'm going to be honest with you. I just do it.
Hello. That's how I am.
Sometimes I shouldn't do that, though. I should think it through.
Yeah, that's true.
Like, I decided that I wanted to do this whole Airbnb thing, and I went out and bought all this furniture, and I just did all these, and it failed. And I was, like, really hurt about it, and I was just like, I did this wrong. I learned a lot, you know. There's a lot of red tape in Los Angeles with doing the Airbnb if you don't own the property.
Yeah.
And so, I mean, it worked out in the end, but it was just like I kept hitting roadblocks, and then I was like, dang, I got all this brand new furniture, and I just spent all this money, and it's like, what am I going to do? And
right.
Of course, Chris was like, you'll be fine. You'll make it back. We'll figure it out. And we did. But, I'm more of a
It happens.
Yeah.
Yeah, it happens. I'm not going to lie. But I think, preparing is important.
Yeah.
Make sure you study your craft, you do your research,
yes.
and you connect with people who are actually doing it, or at least
actually doing it.
Let's talk about that, because a lot of times we look for advice from people, and they give you the wrong advice, and you're like, oh, I got this advice from this person, but they haven't even touched this amount of money or been in this industry before. Mm-hmm. So what is your experience with that? Because I feel like you got a story.
I have several stories, actually.
Yes.
So I feel like there needs to be like a PSA out there.
Yes.
There's a lot of coaches that were birthed during the pandemic. There was a lot of credit repair specialists birthed, and there was just a lot of people that came about in this industry and started giving tips and wanting to do consultations, and a lot of people ate that up, lost a lot of money, and was given the wrong advice because these people were fairly new in their industries. And that's the reason why I don't post credit repair people. I got one time by posting someone that I thought was legit, and then they were scamming people.
Oh my God.
It was a horrible situation. And I ended up posting the person on the Source LA, and it just kind of like scarred me, where it's just like, I don't care if you're legit, I don't care if you've been doing it for 10 years. I always tell people, if you need to learn how to fix your credit, go talk to someone in real estate, because they want that sale, right?
Absolutely.
So they're going to help you at no cost to get your credit in order. Free game.
Absolutely. You know what? I'm so happy you said that, because in a world of all these coaches and consultants,
Yes.
who really know what they're talking about, though? Because I see it all the time, and I'm like, wait a minute, this doesn't make sense. And I have discussions with friends, and we're like, that's a scammer. That's a scammer. Mm-hmm. They don't know what they're talking about. You know, they go to Google University, mm-hmm. and they're reposting content mm-hmm. that someone else is talking about. But then once you in that consultation, if you have discernment, you can pick it up immediately. But other people, they are bamboozling folks out here. It's so many people that got scammed during the pandemic. And I'm not laughing because it's funny.
Right.
I'm just saying, like, it's ridiculous how many people were getting scammed. And it looked like people like us.
That's why I'm telling people now, like, ask for references. Do a reference check. You know, if someone actually called me like a month ago about one of my business partners and was like, hey, I heard that you work with this person, and they asked me a whole bunch of questions, and I thought that was really cool, because I was like, more people need to do this. You know, this person wanted to verify that this person does exactly what they say that they do, mm-hmm. and that it was a success story with me. So I feel like when you are, even in real estate, if you are thinking about working with a real estate professional, broker, whatever, do your research and ask for references. How many homes have they sold? Mm-hmm. You know, what have they really done in their time? And you'll find out.
I love that. Yeah, I'm definitely going to tap in on the real estate side. I got some things going on.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, so.
That's where it's at.
Some things going on, y'all. So what are some upcoming projects that you have down the pipeline?
Oh, man. Today's Friday, right? Mm-hmm. Sunday, we're doing an event.
Ooh.
And we are raising money. Some of the proceeds are going to go to Prom for Dorsey.
Mm-hmm.
So I like to be involved with stuff like that. But it's also going to be a business mixer. There's going to be a panel. I'm going to be hosting it. So that's coming up.
Okay.
Couple more podcasts.
Mm-hmm.
I've been asked to, hey, you should start your own podcast. And I'm like,
this is true.
Okay, what does that look like? You know?
I love it.
So maybe that, mm-hmm. and yeah, I don't know. Maybe a break.
Maybe a break, okay. And I produce podcasts.
Okay.
So what is some advice that you would give your younger self if you could?
Oh man, some advice I would give my younger self. I haven't been asked that.
Little Rocsii.
Good.
What would you tell little Rocsii?
Stay focused.
I
wasn't focused as a young child. I was kind of like all over the place, you know?
Mm-hmm.
So I'll probably tell myself to stay focused and to keep going. I had a habit of starting things and not finishing it when I was younger.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that's why I do that now, where I'm just like, I'm going to do it and I'm going to finish it and I'm going to be successful in it and I'm going to keep going. So that's probably, what I would tell myself.
Wow.
Keep going. Don't stop.
That's beautiful.
Yeah,
I had this this situation. I went to a class. It was kind of breathwork class. And
life-changing.
Girl, life-changing.
Mm-hmm.
And the instructor, he said, what would you tell your younger self? Apologize to your younger self. Girl, I started crying. I was bawling. I was in a ball on the floor.
Yeah.
Just let it all out. Like, that's one of the most life-changing things for me.
Right.
So, have you experienced breath work or any?
My sister, listen, when I'm having a day or a moment, that's who I call my sister.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and of course I call Chris, but I call my sister, and she's really big on breath work.
Really?
Like, when we first did it, I was like, what you doing? You know, because she's like, breathe. And I'm just like, I'm breathing. She's like, no,
you're not.
Breathe.
Right.
Close your eyes. And I'm just like, I'm calm right now.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah.
Oh, yeah, it was life-changing for me. Like, I didn't realize I wasn't breathing.
Yeah.
Sometimes we go through and we're holding our breath.
Yeah.
And we're just, like, holding all this tension in our bodies. And then that comes out, snapping at people, anger, our headaches, our bodies betraying us in certain ways. Right. So, like, that type of work in therapy has changed my life. Yeah, so I always promote that with people, like, please get into some kind of, like, some way to release.
Sure.
And Black people, we got to, open up our mind to other ways of seeking help as well. Right. So we can have Jesus in therapy, y'all.
Yes.
So I want to end this here with you telling everybody where they can find you, where they can find your brands, and what's next for Ms. Rocsii.
Absolutely. So I can be found on The Source LA Instagram. It's The Source LA. I can also be found on Facebook, The Source LA. I can also be found at my website, thesourcela.co. I can be emailed at info@thesource.la, I'm sorry. And I can also be found at Rocsii Frank.
That was a lot, Rocsii.
Yes, it was a lot. Yeah.
But please follow Rocsii. And if you want to follow me, at I am Maisha. And you can follow Keys to the Culture podcast, the same on all social media platforms. And listen to us where all podcasts are being played. So until next time, thank you guys for tuning in. And I'll talk to you soon. Psst, you. Come here. Yes, you. Have you been struggling to stay consistent with your content? We've all been there. You told yourself you was going to post about a year ago, but you have yet to post today. But don't worry, I got you covered. Introducing the Ultimate Content Calendar Blueprint. It is a guide that will show you how to stay consistent with your content for the next 30 days and beyond. It's filled with tips, tools, and ideas to help you take your content to the next level. And guess what? It's completely free. So don't wait because it's going to go out fast. So make sure you download the Content Calendar Blueprint today.